Boxing Guru, this is me, Sound Mr. Boxing Guru. ¿Qué onda? Hope everybody's doing great. Big shout out to, of course, Los Anaya. That was that great intro you guys heard. Like, you guys hear it on every time I decide to do a podcast. As of late, it hasn't been as often. And we'll get into it. Let's get into it now. The reason why I haven't been doing a podcast is why. Let's be honest. There's not a lot of boxing to talk about. There's a lot of speculation to talk about. Of course, the topic comes up here and there. Of course, we got to talk about it, and that's when I decided, you know what, let's sit down and talk about it. But again, today you're gonna hear a lot of rambling. Hopefully, you guys get enough information and go through your days. Big shout out to you guys. If you guys are still out there in the field going work, your Monday through Friday, graveyard shift, whatever you guys are doing. Big shout out to you guys. You guys do. You guys might not run the world, but you guys make the world go round. So, big shout out to you guys. But yeah, let's talk about a couple of things. I mean, I you know what? It's been odd because I haven't been doing the podcast because, like I said, there's really not much to do. But I noticed. I've been noticing that everybody seems to be going crazy right now. That they're feeling the attention of boxing and boxers and whatnot, and there's a craziness to create some sort of content, and sometimes the content just isn't there. I get it. You guys are trying to get those YouTube numbers and whatnot, and what I'm talking about you guys is, the so-called media folks that are going nuts, going live with folks, doing this, doing that. I mean, this time we should be using to one, try to fix ourselves. Like, honestly, a lot of people don't need content. My podcast has been going on for about a year now. Thanks to you guys that listen to, I have a decent following. But I know that if I don't do a podcast, you guys will be all right. You guys don't need to see the same interviews over and over and over. I can't log into Instagram because they're popping up and it's the same shit. There's really no substance to it. So, would I rather see do I like seeing interviews? Absolutely, I want to see fucking interviews. But if it's the same shit, I mean, it kind of kills my idols. I love these fighters. I love what they do. I mean, and to see them repeat the same question over and over, it does get a bit annoying. That's why I decided not to bug any fighters. It's no need for them. This is time that they should use to reflect on everything, and I hope everybody is using this time. If you have extra free time like I do to reflect on life, reflect on everything else, and more than anything, grow as a human being. I don't want to bug any fighters. I want to speculate, sure. And this is why this podcast is great. It's great for you. So let's get to it. Right, first things first. Everybody's making a commotion. I got a whole bunch of messages the other day saying Mike Tyson is coming back. Mike Tyson looked great on the pads. Of course Mike Tyson's going to look great on the fucking pad, guys. Mike Tyson is great. You don't lose that muscle memory. And a lot of people could just sit there and hit the fucking back, especially if you're a legend like Mike Tyson. But it's so stupid. We're so crazy for content that we want to see Mike Tyson fighting. You know how stupid that sounds? Mike Tyson's probably older than a lot of you folks' fathers. And you guys want Mike Tyson to fight just because he looks good going, side to side and hitting a fucking squirmy little guy that's I think that Padman was a guy for fucking MMA. And last time I checked, boxing fans don't really hold MMA guys in high regard. So for you guys to even consider that, it's fucking ridiculous. You guys know better. You guys are smarter than, and I know most of the people that follow me are way smarter than that, and they're fucking making fun of people that are saying Mike Tyson's having to come back. Especially naming them with Holyfield. This is just fucking ridiculous. Let's respect our legends. Let's enjoy our legends. Let's take a picture even with our legends. Shout out to Carlitos. But come on, to request a comeback from Mike Tyson is fucking ridiculous. And another guy that's talking about fighting a little longer than he initially anticipated was actually Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury says that he wants to fight till he's 40, which isn't far away, but at the same time, and I know heavyweights mature a lot later, but we also got to understand that Tyson Fury is a big dude. He's a big dude that relies 100% on his legs. He's a guy that's been fighting for a very long time with that same, jittery style. uh, on a fighter, the first things to go are his legs, and I thought maybe on that first Wilder fight, Wilder might have taken a bit off his legs, especially as he looked in the past fights, in the post fights, the Wilder's first fight. But no, obviously he was able to do good. But again, he's a big guy that has the ability to move like that. It's only a matter of time until he starts having knee problems, and he's gonna have to slow down. And when he slows down, he's gonna have to fight. And when he has to fight, he's gonna run into guys like Anthony Joshua and so on that have been very well preserved, and are gonna be able to put hands on him. And speaking of Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, we heard the rumors. Again, when rumors like this get started, hopefully they don't get ruined. Tyson Fury, of course, beat Deontay Wilder in dramatic fashion earlier this year. That's one of the good fights of this year. Anthony Joshua, of course, got his belt back from the one-hit wonder Andy Ruiz. But now it seems like it's the logical thing to do. Now, Deontay Wilder did fight twice versus Fury, and of course has won maybe 2 rounds out of the from both fights. So it's not a fight that I'm eager to see. Yes, I would love it. I would love to see a knockout again. But is it good for a guy like Deontay's health? No, absolutely not. Look, I love a good comeback story. I would love Deontay Wilder to work on his craft. Maybe get himself a couple of wins, get that confidence back up, and go for another crack at Tyson Fury. Or in this case, even let's say Anthony Joshua does beat Tyson Fury, which I think he can. Why not a crack at him? These are that's why it's so important to keep these fights going. And to create a great fight, especially let's think about it right quick, because Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua, to me, it's a dream fight. Initially, my dream fight was when it comes to the heavyweight. Of course, is Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. I think everybody thought these guys were 2 guys that could crack, very charismatic kids, and I think it was a super fight to me. Now, for the sake of British boxing has 2 legit fucking guys that are bigger than their sport. They're bigger than boxing. Look at Tyson Fury, what he did with the WWF or E, whatever it's called, and Anthony Joshua is just a fucking supermodel. He's a gorgeous son of a bitch. Looks like he was chiseled. So those are 2 huge beings that and they're both British, and it looks like finally the British boxing caught up to British boxing fans, because British boxing fans, we all know, are some of the greatest, craziest sons of bitches, and it seems like they are on top of the world now. They own boxing, and they should, as much work as they've been put in to their sport. I think they finally it finally matches British boxing with British fan base. So kudos to the Brits, man. I love those guys. As far as who wins, Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. As of right now, and I know people are gonna call me fucking crazy because people are only judging based on your last performance. Of course, Tyson Fury beat the brakes out of Deontay Wilder, while Anthony Joshua beat, again, quote unquote, Andy Ruiz. He convincingly beat him, but there's a lot of asterisks to that win, because everybody's saying that Andy Ruiz was fat, and of course the excuses came right after. He didn't run, he partied, he did this, he didn't do his food, he trained when he wanted. So again, all this bullshit kind of taints the win. I thought it was a great win, a great, very disciplined fight from Anthony Joshua. But again, there's all this little shit that taints it, and of course, what doesn't help is the way he lost on the first fight to a guy like Andy Ruiz. Yes, he made up for it, but the way he lost was it was odd. And again, we still don't know what happened. He looked out of it, but again, it could have been an off night, but it's just the way he lost, the way he decide to continue will always have something in the back of my head that says, is this guy all there? can really trust him to go a couple more rounds, and whatnot. So let's. But again, I'll still say to this day, Anthony Joshua beats Tyson Fury. You can quote me on that, bet me money on that, whatever you guys want to do. I'm standing by Joshua. I hope he wins. But most importantly, I hope the fight happens. As far as recent events, you know what? I've been seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter and on Instagram with Joseph Diaz. And Joseph Diaz is the type of fighter that, yes, he's been with Golden Boy for quite some time. But it seems like the big fights, he talks them into existence. He says, you know what, I want this fight, I want such and such fighter, and I want him now. And even if he's not a mandatory, they somehow find a way to make those fighters. The Gary Russell Jr., he made that happen. The Tevin Farmer fight, he pushed ready. You argue with Tevin Farmer, and yeah, it might have been a bit corny at times, but the fact of the matter is that both of them kept pushing it, and finally that fight came into fruition. Now I see him going after Mares. Is it a fun fight? Yes. Would Jojo gain anything from fighting Abner Mares? No. We all know that Mares' eyes are as crazy as that one ref's. And it just doesn't do anything for the young kid, but puts I guess you could say a Southern California icon under his belt. Yes, you know, Armadas at the end of the day is a multi-divisional champ. Say what you want to, you know, he fought the fights, he lost the losses, he won the wins, and he's had a good career. You know, he was managed very well in the very beginning, then he jumped to PBC and he fought once a year. But the fact of the matter is that he's had a good career. He has absolutely nothing to be ashamed of, and he's a guy that pulls tickets here in the Southern California area. A fight with him and Joseph Diaz would be great, but would do absolutely nothing for them, both of them. And I think even for Abner, I mean, fighting a guy like Jojo, again, it'll do great numbers. It'll be a great fight, but it does nothing to have for Abner and Abner's legacy. But gain a couple of bucks off of it. So hopefully, as a fan perspective, I like it. I love it. But at the same time, I started thinking, man, what a great time to be a junior lightweight. The 130-pound division is just hot. I mean, you just don't have one guy that says, okay, you think about 130 division, and you're a hardcore fan. You just don't even think about the champions. You think about the number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys. There's so much fucking guys. I mean, at 130 that you go mix and match them, and some of them are even from the same promoter. And it's a great each way. You don't know who's gonna win. Okay, the top 4 horsemen. I mean, they're Miguel Berchel has a belt. Joseph Diaz has a belt. Jamel Herring has a belt. Rene Alvarado has a belt. Now, if you match Jamel Herring with Berchel, you can't tell me Berchel is gonna be able to. You can't. You could say he's gonna be able to beat him, but you can't assure me that he can't. You saw what a guy like Jamel Herring did to Ito, and Ito's not no fucking pushover, man. Ito is a fucking a legit guy. You saw what happened with Lamont Roach, and you also saw Jamel Herring's vulnerability. You know what I mean? So it's the fight is there to happen, and then you grab Berchel and you say, you know what? Let's make a fight with Alvarado, with Rene Alvarado. Great fucking fight. You grab Joseph Diaz, and this is where Joseph Diaz is a dark horse here, because Joseph Diaz already beat Rene Alvarado. Joseph Diaz has fought all these guys. Joseph Diaz fought the Cancios, the guys that have been in a higher weight, jumped into this higher division, but it had. And Joseph Diaz was able to beat him. And Joseph Diaz is at a very young age. Joseph Diaz, in my opinion, was thrown to the wolves a bit early, and he was able to come out swimming. Again, and that's pre getting a belt. I think, in my opinion, Joseph Diaz and Jamel Herring had one of the toughest way to grab a belt. They finally did. They went and beat the champion, and it's fucking awesome. Like I said, and again, even the guys that got beaten for that belt, you got Tevin Farmer. Tevin Farmer ain't no fucking pushover, man. Tevin Farmer's a legit guy. You can't tell me that Tevin Farmer versus Ito isn't a great fight. Tevin Farmer versus Valdez isn't a hell of a fight. You grab Carl Frampton and you put him in versus Valdez, and it's a great fight. You have Gancio, you put him in against Verchet. I don't know who's gonna win. Again, you put Lamont Roach versus Tevin Farmer is a great fight. So again, any way you mix and match, you're gonna get a great fight. And we're talking about how many guys? Okay, so the champs are 4. Then you got Farmer 5, Ito 6, Gancio 7, Valdez 8, Carl Frampton 9, and Lamont Roach 10. And again, these are guys that you can't say, okay, this guy is the number 10 for sure he's number 10. Okay, you can't grab this guy and say, okay, this guy's number 7. You can't, even within the champions, you could say someone might be ranked higher than the other, and they're not even champions. What I'm saying is that it's a great time to be 130 pounds, and on top of that, you have a fight that was supposed to happen at 135 pounds. A guy that's obviously been fighting at the smaller weight division, but's been gradually moving up because of the lack of competition, and we're talking about Vasily Lomachenko. Now, Vasily is fighting for a 135 unification fight, but the fact of the matter is that he can lose versus this kid, Teofimo, or he can win. But the most important thing about a guy like Lomachenko is that he has no problem going down in weight. He has no problem going down to 126, 130. These are the weights that a guy like Lomachenko fight, and these are all of these guys. And Loma could have a lot of fun with a lot of these guys at 130 pounds and make a lot of great fights now if he does lose to a guy like Teofimo Lopez. Again, in my opinion, I think Loma can beat Teofimo Lopez, but there's absolutely no shame in losing to Loma at 135 if I am Teofimo, and then moving down in weight. At least he has that embedded excuse that, you know what, maybe Teofimo was a bit big for me. Let me go down in weight and battle all these guys. That again, all these guys will give fucking Teofimo. Vasily Lomachenko. I'm sorry, I had a brain fart. And they all will give him a great fight. So that's one thing I was looking at. I'm like, you know what? It's a great time to be 130 pounds. And again, any fight you put in between these guys, anything less, no, because I mean, God, I wouldn't hate a Francisco Vargas versus any of these top guys, or God knows the Avences. I mean, that are just dull up the event. But as far as the top 10, 130 pounds, this is the way to go. This is a great. This is probably, in my opinion, the best division. It might not be the biggest names, but it sure is the best, funnest fights that you could put together. Now, one thing that I did about 20 minutes ago, I went on, and I'm sorry, I might have been a little late, but I still wanted to do it. Dicen que lo fusilaron, otros que se fue